It'll be on a 5-0 Thursday. Happy birthday to Klein Sitake. Jerem Jordan, Jason Shepard, getting ready for the BYU volleyball top 25 matchup against Baylor tonight. The pink out, gonna try the strawberry cougar tail.
That sounds amazing.
Favorite flavor of cougar tail?
The chocolate.
Chocolate. Yeah, it's delicious.
Yeah,
it's delicious.
Which again doesn't make it a cougar tail, but that's fine.
This interview should be delicious as well. Matt Brown, friend of the program, always on Zoom with the pennants, is now in studio, of course, from Extra Points newsletter. Matt, we've only met like twice in person now. It's great to have you in studio.
It's great to be here, too. And fellas, I came here under the guise of doing a lot of serious professional journalism and reaching out to a bunch of other institutions. But secretly, part of the reason I came all this way is I've never had a cougar tail.
Oh, today's the day.
I think today is the day. I think I'm going to swing by the volleyball game later tonight, and I'm going to finally have this experience. When you're on a work trip, there's no such thing as calories.
No.
Yes.
It's all fine.
Everything is fat-free, no carbs.
Yeah.
I get what I call per diem drunk. Oh, yeah, I can spend that money on that. I'm good on that. We're good, dude. We're good.
Yeah.
Okay, welcome to Provo. We didn't think a few months ago that at this point, BYU would be 5-0.
No.
And ranked number 14, and for many people, the talk of college football in some circles. What have you been impressed with the most?
I am glad to hear you say that, because I was a little worried coming down here, because I thought the same thing, right? I'm not an expert film and ball knower like you gentlemen or maybe some of the other people you talk to, and because my beat is so much about money, a lot of how I cover and look at college football is through spreadsheets, and the spreadsheets are pretty clear about this was maybe a fringe bowl team. This didn't have NFL talent jumping off the page, and when I tried to book this trip and set up some of these interviews, it wasn't about this team being 5-0. And so I'm happy to admit, boy, I was wrong about a lot of this stuff here on paper. I think Vegas was too. I think a lot of other people are. And what's impressive, I think for me, is how much many of the returning players have improved from last year, even with a lot of injuries, even with a step up in quality of competition. And you don't always see that a lot because college football rosters are so much more transactional and are changing 20, 30, 40% or more in a given year to be able to return people that aren't preseason five-star guys or necessarily All-Americans and suddenly have efficiency jumps like this. That's impressive. And it makes you think, now looking at the rest of the schedule, I don't think there's anything that you would say is impossible that can be done at this point. It's a great place to be in right now.
What do you make of the Big 12? Because it's what's interesting about the teams that are having success and the teams that are struggling. It's the reverse of what everybody thought. And I mean, obviously, BYU's picked 13th. Well, now they're 5-0. Well, everybody thought that Kansas and Oklahoma State were going to be right at the top, and both have struggled mightily, especially Kansas.
Yeah.
What do you make of this conference in general?
I mean, Arizona State, I think, would be another good example.
Yes.
If you had asked me in July, Houston's probably going to struggle, ASU's probably going to struggle, and BYU might be in that same conversation too, and that isn't what's happened. What I think is exciting about Big 12 football and what makes it compelling television is that there isn't a team in this league that recruits like Texas or Oklahoma. There's not going to be somebody here with a 60% blue chip ratio who is going to enter in every game as a 17.5-point favorite. There's a lot of, I think, roster parity, which then means that you have to be creative with coaching, you have to be creative with development, and you have to be ready to play and be consistent over the course of the whole season. We look in the Big Ten, or you look in the old Pac-12, there were teams that you can kind of pencil in at the beginning of the year and like, this is a 3-9 team. This is our get-right game. You don't really have that right now. Now, on the flip side, is there a team on paper that's like, this is our college football playoff contender? These are the two teams we need to win out so we can get two teams in the playoff? I don't think we have that, and I don't think this league's going to have that for a couple of years. But if you want to be able to say you have to watch every game because literally anything could happen, that's what you've got right now. And that is, I think, a welcome change for BYU fans from the independents, from the Mountain West, to now where you look and realize anything really is possible.
The conference context was always going to be more fun than independence. But and in like men's hoops, it was you were staring at Gonzaga and everybody else.
Sure.
Well, now there's 3 or 4 Gonzagas, and you hope to be in the mix, which is fun. Okay, let's talk about some of the off-the-field stuff where you specialize.
Yeah.
The NCAA gets rid of the National Letter of Intent, formerly called NLI. That's not confusing with NIL
Oh my
at all.
gosh, yeah.
That's what everybody thought, like, wait, it's already, NIL's already over?
Yeah.
Like, no. NLI.
What does this mean now that they got rid of that?
So in plain English, I think what this means is now nobody in college athletics has a reason to own a fax machine anymore. So if you have a financial stake in those things, like I got bad news, brother. Yep, I know. You're just a paper company now.
Yeah.
What we're seeing is a continuing like legal evolution of what the financial arrangement between school and player looks like. The national letter of intent was, I would not describe as a particularly athlete-friendly document. And in a world where it's pretty common now for people to transfer 1, 2, sometimes more than that times, and when now you have different financial arrangements with the collective, it makes more sense to get rid of that and to have something that's a little bit more bespoke or maybe a little bit more transactional for recruiting. I think if you don't have a .edu email address, or if you're not a professional sports writer or a parent of a Division I athlete, this doesn't change things for you very much. But big picture, it's another step in realizing that what it means to be a college athlete is going to continue to change very significantly, whether that's transfer portal length, whether that's employee status, whether that's what kind of paperwork that you're signing, because it isn't the NCAA, and it isn't university presidents, and it isn't Brett Yormark that's really making these decisions right now. Fundamentally, it's about the courts and Congress looking at this as a labor issue in a very different way, which is, I understand what everybody really wants to talk about in a football show. Like, let's talk about antitrust and labor law, baby. But that's kind of where we are.
Yeah. So one of the other things then, obviously the transfer portal has taken over college athletics for the last couple of years. The NCAA has now shortened it. And so the window is not going to be open as long as it has been. Does that really change anything, or does it just make a shorter time period even crazier?
I think it's really more of the latter. And I not to tell tales out of school here, but like there's what the actual transfer portal window is on paper, and then there's the amount of time that universities and collectives and agents are scouting and having conversations with potential transfers. Those two things aren't the same thing. So even if it says you've got 30 days, you might have 30 days to make an official visit, 30 days to formally do this kind of process. It's still generally happening behind the scenes. I think it's really kind of scary if you're an athlete, because you don't often have a chance to actually visit some of these other places. You have a truncated timeline. I think that can result in evaluation mistakes. It's probably not a surprise that many of the kind of players that are looking at transferring in, or that a coaching staff might target, are people that they were familiar with as recruits, because you don't have enough time to get everything done. But if you are a fan and you're hoping, okay, we're changing this window, now it's going to look more like the NBA, now we're going to have like this is the only free agent season and this is only basketball, I don't think that's where we are right now.
In December in football, it's weird because teams are getting ready for bowl games. And then in men's basketball, it's like the end of the second round.
Yeah.
How do you know who's gone for the next year? I'm very confused by some of these timelines. I know for football, you want to get them in for spring and so on and so forth. Opens up in the spring. Hey, I'm not playing. I'm going wherever.
Yeah.
Men's hoops doesn't make any sense to me. You're in the middle of the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, and there's no real good way to do any of this, because it's also informed by academic calendars. But I think
Wait, they go to school too? I know they do here. I don't know about other places.
I mean, I'm on other places shows. I can't tell right now, right? Right here, yes, they go to school here. But it's this challenging thing too. Maybe fans don't always realize this, but at other institutions, the end of that football season, a lot of the assistant coaches are kind of checked out too, because they're looking for their next job. And everyone's trying to figure out, where am I GAing? What gigs are going to be opening up? Everybody's looking out for themselves. And if you're not in the playoff, if you're not in a major bowl game, the head coach might not even be leading all of those meetings. That's already a pretty chaotic time. And now with athletes and their assorted entourages looking at things, trying to prepare a team and manage anything could be a gigantic mess. I don't envy anybody who's playing late in the NCAA tournament and doesn't know who's going to be on their team in 2.5 more weeks. I understand that's what the money's for. Hopefully we have a more standardized system that makes more sense in the future. But right now, I completely understand why a coach's blood is going to be 100% Red Bull come early April, because you're working 4 jobs at once.
As much as we would like to think that you came all the way out here just to be a guest on this show, you're actually out here for a couple of different reasons. And one of them, you're actually working on a story about fans of BYU who are not members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. What was the genesis of this?
Yeah, and I don't mind admitting that I think I may have trafficked in some stereotypes here, with love about this fan base. If you think about it, I'm based in Chicago. I've lived my whole life outside of Utah. That when you typically think about BYU fans outside of this area, it's easy to think of returned missionaries, or people that are fans of BYU in part because of that religious affiliation. I think if you're a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, your connection with BYU is going to be different than if you're a Catholic and Notre Dame. You can live your whole life in the United States and never meet a Notre Dame grad if you're a Catholic. If you're a Latter-day Saint, you're going to meet Y grads. But I've learned over the last several years that there's a lot of people that are not members of the church that might prefer a more traditional tailgating experience, if you know what I mean, or might have different things change in their lives and still are really connected to this football team. And when I talk about this with my national media colleagues or friends in Illinois, like the first thought is, why? Because if you're not signing up for the whole thing, like why are you still riding and dying for this football program? And so I wanted to come out, and I'm really grateful that so many people have reached out to me already. I've had some really great and honestly kind of emotional conversations about that. Continue to do that more reporting throughout this week, and hopefully understand and be able to show the world this is a more diverse fan base in a lot of different ways than maybe it's easy to think about. And all of us contain multitudes in our identities. And maybe we compartmentalize one thing and another thing and maybe root for a football team that you wouldn't necessarily expect. I think it's a beautiful story.
I'm looking forward to reading it.
I'm looking forward to that.
I am intrigued by that. I wonder what that experience is like for them. And hopefully they feel super included in what happens with BYU sports. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
We look forward to it. You're going to be on BYU Sports Nation Game Day coming up Saturday as well, which will be a lot of fun. We're excited about that. And Matt, thanks for coming in, man.
Fellas, it was my pleasure. It wasn't just for the Cougar Tales. Thanks for having me.
But if that was the only reason, it'd still be worth it.
It's still worth it for you.
Yeah, just maybe don't tell my wife about that part. Like, no, these are for work.
Thanks, Matt.